Hi, this is Richard Drummie from Go West, and you're listening to Terry on Six Towns Radio.
Broadcasting to Stoke-on-Trent and the world. This is Six Towns Radio.
Right, Six Towns Radio, going over to the telephones, because today on the line from Go West, I've got Richard Drummie. How are you doing, Richard?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm good, mate. You asked in the 80s for people to call you, and here I am.
You don't mess about, do you?
It only took me, 20-odd years, but I'm here. Okay, so Go West hit the headlines in 1985 with We Close Our Eyes, a brilliant song. You've got to attribute some of the success to the great video that came along to as well, haven't you, really?
The video was absolutely brilliant. It was done by Godley and Cream, and I've always been a massive 10cc fan. I saw them 6 times. Loved their own stuff, loved the Every Breath You Take video they did for the Police. So we after years and years of trying to get a record deal, we couldn't believe all of a sudden, here we are. We've got a record deal, and now we've got Godley and Cream doing our video.
Yeah, the Cry video they did was amazing as well.
Yeah. I mean, I've as I say, I've always been a huge fan of them.
Mm-hmm. And the mid-80s, MTV, Max Headroom, Top of the Pops. It was time for the video single as well.
Yeah, well, as I say, it was brilliant. I mean, I think it started a little bit before, because I can remember, still watching things like Don't You Want Me, and obviously it brought a whole new facet. I wasn't so keen on it, to be honest, because having a video to a song, when you watch the video and the song, and for the first time, it's kind of taking away your imagination for what the song's about. But, that's progress, I suppose. So, and it didn't do us any harm. But obviously, if you just hear a song and there's no picture to it, then, it's like reading a book or seeing a movie, different things.
Yeah, and the blue backgrounds. Tell us about that, Richard.
Well, I'll tell you what that was. Terry, they came up with a chroma key background because they wanted to use the dolls. Now, so they were kind of... a chroma key background, for people who don't know, if you stand in front of a blue screen like that, or sometimes they use a green screen, you can then project whatever you like onto the back of it. So you can be water skiing down the high street or whatever it is. And I think they just decided to... I know them. I know we did a couple of videos with them, and I know the way they work. And they probably just went, "Cool, that blue looks nice. We'll just leave that like it is."
Well, I worked in a portrait photographer studio for a few years, and we had those backgrounds that used to come down like a blind at the back of you. And I went through a blue phase because it was easier just to leave it up there.
Yeah, exactly.
You appeared on quite a few soundtracks as well. That must have been really good for you.
Yeah, we started out with, we got very lucky to do the Rocky IV soundtrack. Yeah. Sylvester Stallone heard one of our demos, I think, and I think it was before we'd even really, had a record out. He just somehow got to hear us. So he said, get yourselves over to Los Angeles, where we'd been there briefly, but flew the whole band out, and so we got on the Rocky IV soundtrack. Then, of course, we did the Pretty Woman soundtrack. Those are the two most successful ones, but we have also done White Men Can't Jump, and we were on one of the Nightmare on Elm Street films as well.
Yeah, it must have been brilliant having that success in the US.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a big factor in us finally breaking and getting the top 10 in America with The King of Wishful Thinking. Obviously, it was associated with the film. I mean, the film sold over 10 million albums for the soundtrack. So you got to get yourself out there and use everything, all the the things in the book or whatever to get yourself out there. And so it's nice to be associated with a movie and not just be talking about yourself and your music. It makes it all look a bit more exciting.
Tell us about the tour. You've just started this tour with Hue and Cry and the Christians. How's it gone so far?
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's really, really nice, actually. I love the mix. The Christians and then Hue and Cry doing a 45-minute acoustic set with Pat and Greg just sort of at the piano and also at the guitar. And it's a really, really nice vibe. Sometimes these tours you can have egos about and people, wanting a longer sound check and this, that and the other. I can honestly say I've never been on a tour that's been as pleasant, and everybody getting on, and just really super. I think we've all been doing this a long time now, and all the toys have already been thrown out of the pram years ago. So we're having a great time.
Yeah, and I suppose your image has changed quite a lot. I remember in the 80s, obviously, the James Dean look, the jeans, white T-shirt and leather jacket was all the rage, but that's totally gone now, as is the perm.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, the perm. Well, did I ever have a perm? Maybe I did. My hair's quite curly, actually, Terry, in its own right. No, I mean, well, I don't know about that. I mean, I went on stage last night in a pair of really beaten up old jeans, great big sort of worker boots, and a grey smashed up leather jacket. So I don't know if it's and a black T-shirt with a skull on it. So I think I've still kept the old rock and roll spirit going. Pete does, however, wear a very, very crisply ironed white shirt. He's most particular about that. We travel very differently, Peter and I take about 4 bags with cameras in and about 12 things to wear in case I change my mind that night. Whereas Pete turns up with one little sort of Gladstone bag with his jeans nicely folded and his white shirt, and he's given up rolling his eyes looking at all the stuff that goes in the car from me.
Is that why it works? Because you are chalk and cheese?
I don't know about that, Terry. I mean, sometimes it doesn't work because of that. I really don't know. I mean, it's like any kind of partnership. We've been together long enough now. I mean, we have some screaming rounds. I mean, we've had one within the last month, to be honest with you. And then all of a sudden we're out having a laugh at dinner together. It's just, we're like brothers, really. And all that goes with that. And I think we just both care about what we do. And when there's only 2 of you, it's very difficult. We are quite different sort of people.
Yeah.
Very, very similar in some ways, but we do disagree about stuff. And when that makes life difficult when you're both fairly forceful people who don't see things the same way. You just have to get through it somehow by you have to get over a lot of things. Really, you can't win every battle. So, but we have learned that, and we keep away from each other when we're not working most of the time.
That's the best thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, we do go out. I mean, he's a Chelsea fan, or so he says.
Yeah.
And I took him to. I said, "Well, you better go to the ground. You better go to the ground where your team plays." So I took him to see. I'm a Fulham fan, and I took him to see Chelsea against Fulham. Actually, took him to Stamford Bridge. So we do go. We do go out and socialise. I don't want to make people think we don't get on, because we do.
Is it true that you nearly made a Thunderbird Go West video?
Oh man, now, there's a lesson in life, boys and girls out there. If you've got an idea and you think it's good, go with it. Yeah, I mean, that was my idea. I thought, I love Thunderbird.
Yeah.
And it was the first song from the second album, and I said, come on, let's do it. We could do a Thunderbirds video. I said we could do the thing in New York where the Empire State Building falls down, and we could be in a recording studio, and they have to come and rescue us. And those were the days when, you just go, yeah, okay, that's possible. So we phoned Jerry Anderson. Actually, Jerry Anderson flew out to Denmark where we were recording. So this wasn't a whim, this was all going off. And sat there one night with Jerry, Mr. Anderson, don't know him that well, God rest his soul, and a couple of bottles of red, and came up with this idea. And he said, yeah, we're going to have brains, 40-foot mixing desk and what have you. And it was brilliant. They were going to do Dolls of Us. And then the record company got cold feet and said, I don't know, is it a kid's idea? And I said, no, you're joking. I like it. I'm not a kid. Anyway, one by one, everyone started going, oh, maybe they're right. And in the end, we didn't do it. We did a video with Terence Donovan, God rest his soul, which didn't work at all. And in the end, we scrapped it. So it was a really, really bad call not to do that video, because 6 months later, Dire Straits did it, and Jerry Anderson was, I walked past the shop in the King's Road where Jerry Anderson was sitting there signing DVDs of Thunderbirds. So who knows if we'd have done that. But, you make some good decisions, you make some bad ones.
After this tour, what's next for you, Richard?
Well, we are talking about going to Australia. It's on, it's off. So that would be nice to get over to Australia in February and March, get away from the cold weather and go and see the Aussies, because we always have a really good time over there. We've toured there every 2 or 3 years, since the beginning of time, really. So I've been there a few times. And also America, we'd like to get back to... we haven't really done anything in America for a long time, and I really don't understand it. So, we're looking to go and get on a bus and do that bus tour of America, which I can't wait for because... my kids are pretty much grown up now, so I finally don't mind going away for 2 or 3 months. I used to always say no to these things because I couldn't bear the thought of being away from them, but I can't wait now.
Now you got that chance again, yeah.
I'm only joking.
Well, I'll let everyone know where they can catch you on this tour you're on at the moment, because there's a couple of dates in the Midlands.
Well, the tour with them, one I should mention is that, although it's usually sold out, I don't know if it is, on December the 14th, we're playing on our own, actually, at the Robin 2, which is in Bilston.
Yeah.
But you feel free. We're playing all over the place, so we'll certainly be in a town near you.
Yeah, Bilston's only down the road. Well, I want to thank you very much for doing this, Richard, and enjoy the rest of the tour.
Thanks for having me, Terry. Much appreciated.